Hello, folks. How you doing? I'm Lady Calamere, and I welcome you to my channel. I am doing my 216th presentation, and it will be on the Norse god Tyr. So we got this wonderful card, and this deals with justice. It comes from this runic tarot by Jack Sephiroth, Alan Dempster, and Jamie Elford. You can find this on Amazon like I did. I have Tyr. Who is he? Tyr. It should be pronounced. The R should be rolled. And I got this beautiful Viking statue, which I just made some adjustments to make him into the god Tyr. So he is one of the Aesir tribe of gods. And he's very popular among the modern heathens, the neo-pagan. However, as popular as he is, and as loved as he is, and worshipped as he is, a lot is missing on him. He's not written a lot. He's basically his biggest story and his biggest achievements in the stories is sacrificing his hand, his sword hand, part of his arm, to the wolf Fenrir, one of Loki's sons. One of the sons of Loki, Rolfison, and Angerboda. And that's his biggest achievement. However, it was a big achievement, and it definitely earned him a place among the gods. Now, that being said, of course, we know that he was popular, as much as we can tell, and that he's very popular today. Probably even more popular than he was. And again, there's more stories written about Odin and Thor. There's also speculation. Now, this is just a theory, speculation, that due to his name, Tyr, Tiwaz, Zu, Tiw, Tiwar, Tewaz, T, that it comes from, that it sounds like the proto name of Zeus, which we get Jupiter, which is Jupiter, and Zeus, that he may have been originally a sky god. And on top of that, the original king of the gods and the original Allfather. Now, to say that he definitely was is disingenuous. It's, please show me the facts where it was. And yes, he has many heighties, and that he may have been at one time the king of the gods. But again, if you're talking about popularity contest, I mean, wouldn't it be more like Thor? But again, we know that Odin was and is the Allfather, and there's some really disingenuous, really fallacies going around that he is the chief among gods. Now that he is chief among gods, no, that title goes to Odin. Again, please show me in the Eddas, in the Poetic Edda, the Prose Edda, where he is chief among gods. He is not. Okay? So if you were looking at the stories of the Eddic, he's not even a major god. But we know that today we see him as a major god. And this is no disrespect to here. I'm also teaching by the Eddas. So, anyways, let's get on to things and what's told as shared personal gnosis, even unverified personal gnosis, and from different source materials. Let's talk about him. And Tyr is a god of. When they say a war god, so a lot of them were war gods. So, uh, Odin was a war god. Thor is a war god. Tyr is also a war god. But his is not a berserker type of war. His is not like a warlord. He is more of a function, sort of like Athena, in a way, where he is a tactician. He is knows the politics of war. He's like a general. He's like a great commander. He's not just some barbarian. The Romans basically said that that he's Mars. Now Mars was not the same thing as Ares. Mars had more discipline than Ares. Mars was more polished form of the war god, where not only did he deal with war, but he also dealt with martial arts and discipline. I'm not going to get into Mars and Ares. I haven't done a presentation on Ares or Mars yet. Maybe one day it will come. So, anyways, Tyr's planet, his day has been named as Tuesday, as Tyr's Day. Tuesday. So, and then his planetary powers would also deal with Mars. But I would also like to say he deals with Jupiter. That he has very Jupiterian functions as well as martial functions. So the colors that are associated with this god is red, crimson, sorry, I almost rolled my R, crimson, and purple. The numbers associated with him is 1. His symbols, definitely swords, and as well as his helmets and shields. His rune is the Tiawas rune, and that is the rune with the arrow. And let me see if it has it. You see the rune right here? That's his rune. And he is very what was I going to say? So his personal rune is Tiawa's rune. And it was said in one of the stories, the older stories, that he was prayed to by warriors, and that they would put special runes, that put the runes of Tyr on your sword, and you write these runes and you say his name twice to win in battles. I do want to, before I go on, I want to dedicate this presentation. I'm so sorry to do it in the beginning, to Aldo Abeo, who died unfortunately in a car accident, and it just didn't have to happen, unfortunately, but it did. So it is going to my friend, just dedicating to her, Nancy, her son Aldo, who was from what I understand, a very good person, very athletic person, very into health, and a good stand up guy. So, this is for you, Aldo. May you rise in power. May you rule in power and also rest in peace when you need to, and rule in power and protect your mother and your father and your brother, and protect all those you love and guide them. And may you be guided as well. So, sorry I never got to meet you, but, you know, peace to you. May your spirit rise. So, anyways, Tyr is pretty much a stand up guy among the gods, and he is also used for swearing of oaths. And it would be wise to tell the truth when swearing upon the rune Tiwaz, and it would be wise to swear a truthful word, an oath, in the name of Tyr. Tyr is also the god of... He is the god of justice as well as battle. He is the goddess of arbitration. He is his elements, his elements are air as well as fire. So air as well as fire. Not much is known, like even in the stories of his wife. I mean, during the Loki Senna, where Loki was insulting the gods, he told Tyr, hey, I slept with your wife, by the way, and I believe he said he had a child with her. In some stories, and the stories I like to believe, is that his father, the older stories, is that his father is a giant, a Jotunstock, Heimnir. We don't know who his mother is, but his grandmother has 900 heads. And in their stories later on, that Tyr becomes the son of Odin. He was also said to be Saxnod, and that means friend of the Saxons. But Saxnod is also could be his own deity. So if you look at this way of the name Saxnod, he was basically the ancestor of the kings of Essex. So he is a god of sacrifice and giving up things for the greater good. He is a god that deals with order over chaos. He is the one-handed one. He gave up his right hand, his sword hand, to preserve his tribe and the world, and for order over chaos. He is a god that also deals with self-sacrifice. Tyr is also very ancient. Tyr is also called for legal matters. So whatever legal matters you're having, maybe it's business, maybe it's dealing with protecting your child, maybe it's a divorce proceeding, it could be a lawsuit. I hope it's not frivolous, but a lawsuit. Now another number that's also dedicated to him is not just one, sorry, I don't have notes and I don't have a script, is the number 17. 1 and 17. So the the flowering spurge is also said to be his plant. He is called the master of the temple. And by the way, there is a cool song by Wardruna called Tyr. There's also a cool metal band called Viking, if you're into Viking metal, called Tyr. Really cool band. Yeah, they sing about the heathen way. The old Viking way. So, offerings to Tyr, what he likes, is definitely meat. Meat. It could be beef, it could be pork, chicken, but meat. Bread, ale, beer, IPAs, mead, and wine, the red variety of wine. You can't go wrong with offering him things that deal with weapons, bullets, knives, swords, shields, images of warriors, and images of your sacrifices, of the sacrifices that you have done for the greater good. So, he is the patron god of those who deal with justice, like judges. He is the patron of those in the military service, be it the Marine Corps, Army, National Guard. So he deals with members of the military. Tyr is also used to defend or protect someone who is over in their head, who has problems, who are defenseless, who are the vulnerable. He's also a god of the martial arts. He's a god of weaponry. He is the god of warriors. He's a god of swordsmanship, sword fighting, any type of martial arts, boxing, anything to do with fighting. It doesn't matter if it's karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever have you, it doesn't matter. So he is a god of military service. He's the god of those who also he's the god of those who earned medals in the service. So you can actually store the flag of those who have fallen. So if you have a husband or wife who is dead, or who have earned a military funeral, and you get the flag. My father served in Korea, so he had medals and he had the flag, and that could be stored in Tyr's altar. Also the medals, because that represents the sacrifice and the service you have done. My father earned a Purple Heart. My father got hit with the grenade shrapnel in Korea, and he was in combat. He was literally in combat, and he was a combat veteran. So he died with the grenade shrapnel always in his leg, but he got the Purple Heart, and that is definitely Tyr. And it's amazing because one of the colors of Tyr that can be associated with him is purple. And of course, red as in blood. And my father bled for for my country. I thank you, Dad, for your service. So he is buried in a military cemetery. I'm not going to say where he's buried at. So he also deals with oath cords, not where you make an oath and you knot a cord. So a knotted cord for oaths. So contradiction to this god is dishonorable behavior, breaking your sworn word, your oath. Also, depending on the dishonorable discharge, I would say, from the military. I'm not going to say he's not going to work with you if you got dishonorably discharged. So, you know. But anyways, I'm not going to get into the politics of that. So, what else can I talk about this god? Oh, his stories. One of the stories where he's not, he shows in it, but he kind of takes a back seat and he kind of disappears from it for a bit, is when the gods wanted to have a big party and they needed a big cauldron. Where do we get this cauldron? Why, from Tyr's father, of course. Heimnir's cauldron, and in which Thor features more prominently in this story, but he is there to help Thor get the cauldron for the Elm, which they do. But we see some things about his father. His father has a very bad temper when he comes home. His grandmother is very helpful. His mother is an Aesir. And when his father gets mad, he sends his kin of his servants or kith and kin of fire, lava giants after them, after Thor and Tyr. But we see where he has interesting connection to lava. Now his big story is, of course, when Odin receives a prophecy that the sons of Loki are trouble and they're gonna be instrumental in Ragnarok, in the destruction of Asgard, the world, the people, and the gods, and including Odin. So Fenrir had to be ripped from the arms of his mother, Angrboda, and brought to Asgard, where he is raised, and the only one who does it is Tyr. Now, those two form a bond, and especially Fenrir sees him as a friend, family even. Someone, his only friend, someone that he can trust. But this every day, as the wolf grows and grows bigger and bigger and bigger, it becomes apparent that this is going to be an issue, because this wolf is big. And by the way, in Norse stories, wolves are not seen as positive animals. They're seen more negative. And yes, Odin has two wolves, but generally wolves were not seen as positive. So we see in the stories that Fenrir has to be dealt with. So why not just kill Fenrir? Why not just kill him? Well, to be honest, it was said that Asgard was too sacred of a place to spill blood, especially in this type of fashion. this form of spilling blood on their sacred world or sacred land. So they decided to bind him for all eternity. But there's a trick to this. Fenrir's not going to just volunteer to be bound. You think he is fucking stupid? You know? And of course they have to take the wolf out and make it a game, a fun game. Hey, wolf, want to play a game? We want to just test your strength so, we can tell stories about it forever and ever. So the first chains they put on him, which is a very strong feather, a very strong bind, was Ledingr. But he broke out of that. And they were like, holy shit. But they're like, yay, you did it, Fenrir. And he's like, yay, I did it. Let's try this one. So they got another feather, which he breaks out as Ledingr. And this was stronger by half. And, so Ledingr he breaks. Then, I'm sorry, the second one, don't have notes, is Dromi. Dromi was the second. Sorry. So the second one, first one was Ledingr. Then the second one was Dromi. This shows I don't have notes. Dromi was supposed to hold him, but it didn't. But they had, they're like, yay, you did it. Oh, Jesus. Of course, you know what I mean. Like, oh dear Odin. So they had another chain made. And it was made by the dwarves. And it was fashioned of things that is not supposed to exist. And it was thin as a silk thread. Like a ribbon. But it was made of things that should not exist. Like the roots of a mountain. Let me remember. The roots of a mountain. It was made of 6 things. Okay, so let's count it. 1, the roots of a mountain. 2, the sinews of a bear. 3, the beard of a woman. 4, the spit of a fish. 5, the breath of a fish, the spit of a bird. Oh, let's go back. Okay, 1, the roots of a mountain. 2, the spit of a bird. 3, the breath of a fish. 4, the beard of a woman. 5, the sinews of a bear. And the 6th one was the sound of a cat's footstep. All put into this chain by the certain dwarves that put it together. But the wolf was all suspicious. He goes, a thin chain, really? And they were like, well, you definitely broke out of the other ones. Let's try this. And Wolf says, I sense magic in this. I don't trust you. I'm done with this game. This is stupid, basically. And they said, no. Come on. Let's see you break out of this. And they said, okay, only if one of you dare to put your hand in my mouth. Just in case you don't let me go. Because I'm going to tear the shit out of you. None of the gods would do it. They were looking around and like, oh, he got us there. But then Tyr stepped up. He manned up. And he goes, I'll do it. And he put his sword hand in the wolf's mouth. Why the sword hand? Why not his left hand? I think that's what Fenrir wanted. I want the sword hand. Because I'm going to cripple a bitch right now. And so Tyr put his hand in the wolf's mouth. And Tyr is the first one to make the god of oaths, the god of truth, the god of justice is now swearing a false oath. And he goes, I swear that if you can't break out of this little sissy chain, I'll let you go. So they tied the wolf up, and the wolf struggled and struggled and struggled, and he was like, holy crap. He goes, let me go. And they're like, no. So he proceeded to chomp off the hand of Tyr. Hence his hand bloodied. A bloody stump. That's what he pulled back. And all the gods laughed at this. Can you believe this? They freaking laughed at the hand being bit off. Literally laughed and thought this was a game, was a joke, except for Tyr. Tyr was not laughing. Then they proceeded to tie up the wolf, and they decided to bind his mouth with a sword. They put the hilt in the bottom of the mouth and the top of the mouth, so the point was up like this. So, and in this, the spit of Fenrir was rolling out of his mouth while he was howling, and it proceeded to make a river. And there he was said to be bound until for all eternity, until Ragnarok happened. Which, at Ragnarok, we see Tyr is going to fight bravely, but guess who messes him up? It's not Fenrir. One would think Fenrir would do it. But it's actually, he goes after Odin, where Garmr, who's he's a big dog. He's a big hellhound dog, very loyal to hell, is the one that does Tyr in which Tyr kills Garmr, or Garm, in which eventually Tyr succumbs to his wounds and dies from the Ragnarok battle. But it's said that maybe it's because the reason why Fenrir didn't attack Tyr is because it was under the recommendation of Odin or command of Odin to bind up Fenrir, and in which Fenrir goes after, or Fenris goes out, however you want to say Fenris or Fenrir, goes after Odin. One would think Tyr, because Tyr, now I'm going to be devil's advocate. You, god of oaths, swore a false oath to Fenrir. You raised Fenrir. He trusted you. He counted you as his family and his friend. And you betrayed him. And not only that, the sword you put in his mouth, you bound him. And you allowed the gods to make a mockery out of him. You humiliated him. You did this to him. You lied. You betrayed him. Why would he not come after Tyr? Please tell me. Can anyone elaborate that with me? Because if I was the wolf, I'd definitely go after Tyr. I'd be like, I'm mess you up. Could it be that Fenrir still had some feelings for him? I don't know. But I don't think so. But Tyr's defense of why he did it is to preserve the gods from maybe trying to prevent Ragnarok. Maybe trying to protect his tribe. That they feared Fenrir. I mean, this wolf was... Look at this. Do you not see the wolf? Gigantic. Here Tyr valiantly braves the wolf. Tyr betrayed who he raised, the wolf. They had an emotional bond to each other. Not bond. And he lied, the first and only lie he tells. From what the stories we see. So of course, during the Loki Senna, Loki kind of mocks Tyr's arm and says, "You are not able to bring reconciliation to people. You're not able to bring peace among men." Or maybe hold things. Also, another term is also what he used for holding two things in your hand. And basically, your sword arm is gone. Tyr retorts back, of course. "Well, your son's bound up for eternity, so ha ha he he." Because the reason why Loki also goes after Tyr is when Loki makes mockery of Yngve, Frey, which means Lord Frey. So he makes a mockery of Yngve and say, "Hey, you stupidly gave up your sword for the love of Gerd, and now you know you're not gonna be able. You were supposed to be able to use the sword to fight, and you gave it up." And made a mockery, and Tyr was not gonna stand for this shit. He's like, "Frey is pretty much one of the best of us here. You know, he's the nicest guy. He's a good stand-up dude. You know, he's a stand-up warrior. And here you are making fun of him." Of course, Loki gets angry, and they have words for each other because Loki angry that you bound up my son. So Loki in the Loki Center tells all the sins and the shames of the gods. And you know, it's reason why I guess they hated him. The truth hurts, and if the shoe fits, well, they'll take that shoe and throw it. But you know, okay, I like to play devil's advocate here, in which they get angry at Loki, in which his holding a binding Loki comes into play. So, yeah, what you look at my presentation of Loki, because in Saxo Grammaticus' work, The History of the Danes, Loki had nothing to do with Baldur's death. Nothing at all. It was nothing to do with spite or meanness or just boredom. It was to do with the hand of another goddess. So, yeah, so that's a whole big story. I don't want to get off track with it and go into the story and get off track with Tyr and go on my rant. So, Jack, what you doing? You're walking on everything. You're walking on my stuff, boy. Are you trying to turn on that remote control? Jack is here. Jamboree Jack. That's why I call him Jamboree Jack. That's his name, Jamboree Jack. Jamboree Jack. Jamboree Jack. He's an old boy, so you must forgive him. But I really love this statue because it really has the weapons of war, which is dedicated to him. We got the double-headed axe, we got the helmet, we got the sword, we got the shield, we got another sword with his name written on, with different runes. We got his cape, which is in purple. We got his, which I made a bloody stump, which he looks like he just, you know, had victory. We got him with his horn helmet. Now, I'm going to also dismiss something. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, the warriors of the Vikings, they went to war with the horned helmets." No. No. Fallacy. That was more of horn helmets, more of the priestly staff. It wasn't used in war because anyone could take those horns and do this, pull them in. So they did not use horned helmets in war. Yes, I know this. I know these things. I drink THCT and know things. No, but seriously, the Vikings did not do raiding with horned helmets. They didn't use that. Okay, the Norse, even before that, they didn't use Norse helmets to, you know. Oh, here's another axe. A single-headed axe. Wow. We see he has his rune right here. I painted Tiawas. And I wrote the name Tyr. Tyr. And his colors. So, yeah, I did want to throw that out. The warriors do not wear horned helmets. So, what else can I talk about him? He is a god of bravery. He is a god of dedication. So athletics, getting your body healthy and fit is also a good way to work with him. He is a god of victory. He is a god of great power. He is a god of winning. Literally winning. He's a god of the champions and championship and anything that requires sacrifice too. A sacrificing of your energy, a sacrificing of your time. Some people offer him blood as a sacrifice. They will, and just be careful when you do it. I don't want you to cut a vein or an artery and say, hey, you told me to sacrifice my blood. No, I didn't. You can do it. I use diabetic lancelets to get blood. And you can buy, you don't need to be a diabetic to buy them, so you can get them. So, he is a god of all types of justice. Doesn't have to deal with just the courts. When I talk about justice, it could be, he is a god of balance, equilibrium. He is a god of what is right. He is a god of, not just a god of revenge, not a god of revenge, but a god of getting, of making someone, you know, pay a price of justice, getting their comeuppance. So he is the god of those who make weapons, weapon making, making a knife or a sword. Not saying that he is a god of so much as the forge, but as weapon making, gun making, making of bullets, making of shields, making of helmets and anything used for war. Tyr, like Athena, like I said before, Athena, he is wise in war. His name was literally a sign, a symbol, a power, protection, and of victory. He is a god of deliberation. So, what else can I talk about this god? He is a god to hit your mark, a god to hit your target in life. So to hit the mark, to do what you need to do. He is a good God to help you make your goal in life. Doesn't necessarily going to make it easier. But he is to help you hit your goal in life. How long have I been talking about him? 45 minutes. Wow. He's also a great God of defense and protection. So if you need to do some spiritual, magical protection of your home and your family and your friends, he is a God to call upon. What else can I talk about him? Is that all I want to talk about? So, yeah, I did say his day is Tuesday. I hope I'm not losing your attention. He is a good God of hope. He's a good God to remain faith. He is true like an arrow. He deals with not selective, not alternative facts. He deals with facts, okay? Alternative facts, no. So sometimes it's also he's like associated with the pole star, as he was said to here is a special sign that keeps well your faith, and that it's ever a course in the sky's dark night, and it never fails. I don't know exactly from word for word, but Tyr seems to be the leading star. So that's also interesting that he is the North Star, the pole star. Tyr has also kind of been classified sort of like a solar god, like one of the solar gods. So it was also said that he was the first perjurer, the first oath breaker, even though he is a god of oaths. Now there's also said that Tyr could have been double sexed. Maybe. That there seems to be evidence of that, where he has a feminine part called Zisa, Z-I-S-A, and that he himself, Tyr, was named Zio. So could have Zisa been his consort? I don't know. These are like, that could be like a speculation on that of his wife or consort. We don't know who his wife is. Because Loki does say when he gets angry, that's enough, Tyr. You know your wife mothered a son by me. I impregnated her. And that was to basically put him down. Tyr would also be a good god for lawyers. Oh, dear God. I roll here with some of these lawyers. You know, some of these lawyers are complete shysters and looking for all these frivolous lawsuits. That's what it's come down to. God forbid you look at someone the wrong way, I'll sue you. But no, Now we're gonna hear, of course, there's a new game of the Gods of War where Tyr is basically was it one Odin was once Tyr finds out that they I think it was either Odin was Tyr or Tyr was Odin, and that Tyr is pretty much useless in battle, and that he wouldn't fight even if he could, and that he's a pacifist, he won't fight. And it's, I guess it's a good game. I don't play video games. I've been turned off by it by my ex, so haven't played any video games anymore because of him. He just trust me. He turned me off on them. I'll be honest. I'm just not gonna get into it, but I just don't want people to say, "Hey, I learned all about Tyr from the Gods of War." No. Please, please, please tell me you're not learning about the gods through a video game like that. I mean, it'd be interesting that you want to learn about the god because of it, but not saying I learned all about Tyr and Odin through Gods of War. No. So anyways, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Tyr like that. And if all else fails, if you don't have meat and wine, you can always, like, I like to give chocolates and sweets to my gods. I have plenty of that. So feel free to give that to your god. So go back into your notes and put down, you can give sweets to Tyr. Tyr is also about facing the unknown and also facing an obstacle. So, anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this presentation on Tyr. I hope I cleared some things up. I hope I gave you at least some basic knowledge or some more in-depth knowledge of him. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like it and you really want to pay me, please subscribe to my channel. That's currency for me. Liking my video, sharing my video, and subscribing to my channel is currency to me. And I always accept, prayers of money and doing spells for me to have luxurious life of, happiness, health, and long life from my cats, and protection even 10 years down the road from if you're watching this video 10 years from now. And here's Loki making an appearance. There you are, Loki. Loki Lofison. Are you looking at Tyr like you want to break it? You just love to break my stuff. So I always accept that. I hope you're doing well. This is the last video of 2023. Probably most definitely. Maybe. 99% sure I won't be doing another video, but just in case I do, I will be doing on a Norse goddess. I'm not going to tell anyone right now. But anyways, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember, please, please, please adopt an animal. Adopt, don't shop. Or at least find one from the streets and have it as your pet, your friend, your family. And don't betray them by giving them away so you can get that Christmas puppy or Christmas kitten. If you do that, make things fall off of you. If YouTube will take that down. But seriously, it's just awful to do that to an animal. It's just fucked up. They're family. Okay, anyways, as always, blessed be. Right, Loki?